My initial impression was that hey, this is huge, man. This is big. It's awesome, as they say nowadays. I hadn't the slightest idea where Portsmouth was, never having been in New Hampshire. It was loaded with sailors because the Naval Shipyard manufactured, produced 69 submarines during the war. And I thought it would be very temporary. I was hoping to get aboard a ship, but it was interesting from the very start. And it took a while to get adjusted. I mean, it took us, a week or so to get adjusted to the quarters, to the workings of how a prison operates. I was in the dispersing section, dispersing of funds, including the discharge of prisoners. Accounts payable and accounts receivable set up for each of the prisoners, and they could draw against money. Some of them had money when they came in. Some of them, surprisingly, had quite a bit of money. That is to say, they might have had $20 or $30, which was substantial in those times, considering that a monthly salary when you came in as a private or as a third-class seaman was $18 so a month. Type of prisoners that were there, better than 90 or 95%, were all absence without leave or desertion in time of war. The war was going on, and they wanted them restored to duty. They needed them. Many of them were well trained already. There'd be the daily, how many prisoners were added to the prison, how many were discharged, how many were restored to duty. And I always figured the figure was closer to 4,000. While I was at the Naval Prison, there was only one commanding officer. It was Colonel Joseph A. Rossell, a very dignified disciplinarian. Little did I realize that he had also been the commanding officer of the Naval Prison back in 1930 to 1934. He liked about the individuality of a prisoner. He wanted to be on a one-to-one basis for the prisoners so that they could be rehabilitated. Colonel Rossell was known for anything. He was a brilliant man. He was excellent. If it required that it had to be a two-syllable word, he could always find a five-syllable word. It wasn't that he was confusing the issue, but he was extremely well educated. He liked to smoke with a big filter, one of these big, about 12-inch long filters of some type, and it'd have the cigarette that he would puff on over there as he was cogitating. And then I noticed, and that was in one hand. In the other hand, he had a cigarette where he was directly, so he had he smoked two cigarettes simultaneously. I don't think it was Colonel Rossell that wanted the German prisoners to be there. It's just that they came into Portsmouth. There was no other place convenient, I guess, or big enough to be able to handle them. But he wasn't even there at the prison at the time when the first submarine came in. And yet he was, because he was commanding officer of the naval prison, of course, he took the onus of what did happen. So the fact that the Germans were put in the naval prison was already against the Geneva Convention. And I don't think it would have been that crucial had not one of the commanding officers of the German submarine committed suicide in Boston. Once that happened, of course, it blew up the whole thing that, hey, look how you mistreated prisoners, and that was not under the Geneva Convention. Colonel Rossell getting a letter of reprimand because of the so-called mistreatment of the German prisoners. In our court system, you can appeal a judgment, right? You can appeal a sentence. So the method in the services is called redress of grievances. You can ask for a reconsideration based on this redress of grievances. I typed the redress of grievances which Colonel Rossell was sending to the Secretary of the Navy. To get a letter of reprimand is, if you had a career, that's the end of your career. He was a good commanding officer. I met her at a USO dance. The sailor who introduced me said, "I want you to introduce you to this young lady. Her name is," he said, "I forgot." So he turned to the guy, "What's your name?" So it was Evelyn de Rochemont. I met her, and it was October 5. She was dressed in a red velveteen dress, extremely pretty. There was a war, but coincidentally I got to meet someone who meant the world to me. We were married for 51 years. And there were very few restaurants in those days, by the way.